What's going on, guys? It's Brent with the FSA podcast, where we teach online health coaches how to sell at a higher rate, scale their business with more profit. Have you ever heard the quote, more is lost in indecision than wrong decision? That quote alone, that simple quote, it's made me a millionaire in less than 3 years of owning a business. And it's been one of the most pivotal concepts of my entire life. I want to break that down, the 5 takeaways that I actually have from that quote, and how I still leverage those 5 concepts every single day as a business owner, and how it actually helped me start my business almost 4 years ago, which is crazy to think about. So we'll get into all that, but first, if you have not hit that like, share, subscribe button, go ahead and drop that now. You know, every single week I drop free value. I give you guys real actionable items to actually take away, implement, and make sales. And every single week I get messages from you guys saying how you made money from this podcast. So that warms my soul. It makes me feel like what I'm actually doing is worth it. And the time and effort that I spend on this is worth it, because I'm helping put money in your pocket. So again, if you find this helpful, someone else might find it helpful as well. Go ahead and do them a favor and send this over. Again, like, share, subscribe. You guys are fucking awesome. Okay. So more is lost in indecision than wrong decision. All right. Sit there, scratch your chin, pause this, ponder that. What does that mean to you? What does that mean? Where you lose more by not making a decision than you do by making a bad decision, right? It's very strange. So this quote, like I said, has completely, legitimately changed my entire life. You know, people would ask me, this is years ago, why I became a nurse. Why? Because admittedly, I did not like nursing. I was good at it. I had a lot of responsibility, and, you know, I was promoted and things like this, but I just didn't enjoy it. Didn't enjoy it at all. And I would always say the reason I became a nurse is because of the schedule. 312s, that means I have 4 days to become an entrepreneur. I have a nice stable job with benefits and healthcare, and I have another 4 days to be a little bit more risk tolerant in owning a business and doing that whole thing. And I knew I always wanted to be a business owner. I just needed something stable because I was very risk averse. I was scared. I was terrified. I didn't want to go back to where I was when I'd grown up. We grew up very poor. If you've listened to any of these podcasts, I actually told my whole life story, foreclosure to, you know, $1 million, the whole story beginning to end. And I always said I wanted to be an entrepreneur, but I was always terrified to actually make a move or do anything that would make me actually become an entrepreneur, especially when there was risk involved, because I was like, well, I made it up out of my hometown. I got the degree. I have a nice stable job. I don't want to lose that and go all the way back to ground zero. So I always wanted to be an entrepreneur, but I didn't have the balls to actually become one. And maybe you guys were there, or maybe you guys know someone. Okay. It wasn't until I heard this quote, couldn't tell you where I heard it, couldn't tell you the exact moment. I just remember it just stuck with me. It stuck like glue for my entire, again, every single day since I've heard that quote. It's at some point in the day, it circulates. Every decision I make or don't make, that circulates. And I'm always weighing the opportunity costs with that decision. So I was a nurse, working 3 days a week, terrified to start a business, even though I did have the time. And this was like 5 years, close to 5 years of doing this before I actually made a jump. And I want to tell you guys 5 takeaways that I had from that quote that actually eventually led to me taking the jump, and then leveraging, again, that same concept throughout the last 3 years that's made me a millionaire in, you know, multiple different ways. That's real estate, that's C4F, and now we just started a 3rd business, wholesaling real estate. So it's guided me so well in my career, and I would be gatekeeping horrifically if I didn't share this with you. So more is lost in indecision than wrong decision. Number 1, the main concept I really take from this is learning and growth. Okay. Failure is so freaking natural in the learning process. I cannot learn without fucking something up. I have to break stuff to then learn, 1, how to fix it, and 2, how not to break it next time, right? I have to push everything to its limit. I'm like a child in that aspect, okay? But accepting that failure is just 100% the tax that you have to pay to be successful. It's just so normal. Someone says they're failing, or if someone fails at something, it's like a lot of times as humans, we want to, you know, have like a judgmental approach to that. Like, wow, saw that coming, or something. They're just one step closer to being more successful. And if you're someone that just sits on the sideline and judges every failed attempt that someone else takes, you're going to live a very miserable life, a very sad life. Okay. So without failure, there is limited opportunity for growth and development. The more you fail, the more likely you are to succeed. Okay. That's another one. The more you fail, the more likely you are to succeed. There's an Einstein quote. I didn't fail. I just found 1,000 ways how not to do something, right? Basically, I just stopped being a baby. And I decided, the sooner I start making mistakes and I start failing, the sooner I start doing these things, the sooner I'll figure out how things are supposed to work. And that's exactly what happened. I fell on my face dozens of times over and over, smacked around by life and business. And thankfully, I feel like I'm in a place now. You never know what can happen. I can get smacked right after this podcast with God forbid, I don't know, a lawsuit or something, right? Fingers crossed. But you just never know what can happen. But so far in my business, it's been exceptional. So number one, learning and growth. You have to fail to learn from your mistakes to keep growing. 2, risk taking. Okay. Success requires risk. I figured that, if I didn't have the stomach for risk, I shouldn't be an entrepreneur. I kept talking about it and I knew I always wanted to be it. But if I didn't have the stomach, if I couldn't even fathom the idea of taking risk and potentially losing everything, if I was not okay with that I shouldn't be an entrepreneur, because quite frankly, that's always an option. And I think people in careers feel like it's not as prevalent or not as much potential when they're nice and safe in a career, but people get fired all the time, every single day. So you're not safe no matter what you do. You might as well do this one thing that you really enjoy. Okay. So I needed to get comfortable taking calculated risks. I'm not just throwing money at anything and everything. I say no to more things than I say yes to, but the things I say yes to are still a risk in essence. So the idea that other people were willing and able to take more risks than I was just pissed me off. I was like, dude, why am I being such a baby about this? Like, just do it. So many other people have done it. Why won't you? Right? So I viewed it as a competition, right? I just started embracing it. Risk is part of life. Failure is part of life. I've seen hundreds of people as a nurse on their deathbed. And the one thing that I took from nursing, the one real, there's a few, I'm sure, but the major thing I took from nursing is that I'm going to be in that position someday. If I'm lucky, right? I'm going to live to be an old man. And when I pass away, I'm going to be surrounded by friends and loved ones, right? And I've seen this over and over and over hundreds of times. The last thing I want in that scenario is to wonder if I could have done more, if I should have done more, right? If I hadn't been so scared of the outcome, what could I have accomplished? Because the outcome is the same for everybody, right? Not to get too deep and vulgar here, but we're all going to end up on that bed someday in one way or another, right? And I want to leave it all on the table. And that's the biggest thing I've taken away from nursing. So risk taking was number 2. Resilience is number 3. So dealing with failure builds resilience. It builds mental toughness. I want to be a tough individual. And I imagine that if you're listening to this podcast, there's a certain level of personal development and entrepreneurship within you where you want to be a better version of yourself, or you wouldn't be listening to this podcast. You'd be PewDiePie or whatever else is on YouTube. So resilience, I want to be someone who is calloused, who knows how to handle tough situations. Someone who lives a life without adversity. Typically, they're not the most mentally sound people, right? They've been handed everything their entire life, and that's the complete opposite of me. So I want to build that callous and that resilience and that creativeness on how to handle a situation. Okay. Which brings me into number 4, innovation and creativity. Okay. Failure encourages innovation and creativity. When something doesn't go as planned, it forces you to start thinking a little bit differently, because most people think a certain way. And then others, like entrepreneurs, we think a little bit differently. We think a little bit more solution oriented than regular individuals, unless they're a high level individual at a corporation or something like that. Right. But it forces you to think differently. Some of the greatest inventions and breakthroughs have come as a result of multiple failed attempts and experimentation. So that's what I want my life to be like, right? I want to find all the things that something doesn't work, build that callous, build that experience, and that maturity that comes with living a life of adversity. So I mean, this is, just to be completely honest, this is personal items, this is real estate, this is relationships, this is C4F. Of course, the way that I handle problem solving is completely different than it was prior. I used to be a complainer. Okay. I don't like to admit that. I don't think anybody likes to admit that they are or were once a complainer. When I would deal with a situation, I would always think, God bless, right? Gotta do this. Are you serious? Oh, this would only happen to me. Or something I used to say, my famous words throughout college is, I have the worst luck. And then everybody around me started saying, Brent has the worst luck. He really does. It's funny how bad his luck is. And it was almost a laughing matter, but I realized I'm putting this on myself. every little thing that goes wrong in my life, is it bad luck, or is it just the way things happen sometimes? Maybe it was my decisions. Maybe I wasn't making great decisions. But saying it, oh, I just have the worst luck. It's a victim mentality. I'm a victim of the atmosphere, that everything happens to me, woe is me. And that's who I used to be. That is not the case anymore. And again, that comes with number 3, the resilience. I'm not that person, and I'm very proud to not be that person anymore. When I deal with a problem, when something comes across my desk that sucks, or I get smacked in the face like I did, or like I spoke about earlier, it's a whole different mentality. It's like a game of chess. It's like, okay, what next? Let's prioritize. Let's see what do I need to tackle first? What do I need to delegate? And what do we need done within this specific timeline? It just becomes, it's just a way of thinking. It's a way of life. It's like, okay, boom, boom, boom. What do we need to do? Let's go. And, I might moan and groan every now and again, but it's not the same as before. I think it's a very normal human reaction, but I get things done fast. And that is something that was not the case before. And then finally, more than ever in my life, I am just appreciative, like 100%. Like it's the strangest thing, but I've never been more grateful just for everything that we have in life. And I fully recognize that. And I recognize the life that I built is exactly the life that I set out to build. And I feel like I say this a lot on podcasts, but I want to give you guys legitimate advice here, like legitimate purpose and hope, because a lot of people, like you might see me right now, I don't have, I have an Apple Watch on, I don't have a bust down necklace or any, a Lambo parked in the garage. I don't have that, but I have the life that I set out for. Like I made it happen with our sustainable growth model, right? I made it happen with taking risk. I made it happen with failing over and over until I found the right way to do something. So I want to continuously, don't ever take it as bragging. I want to continuously remind you guys that what you want is not that far away. It's a few key decisions and a lot of fucking hard work and consistency, and you can get there. And I hope that everyone that listens to this can get to a place of just pure bliss and gratefulness for what they've accomplished and what they have in life, because it's genuinely the best feeling I've ever had. So again, I'm getting a little soft on you guys right now. I'm just, again, very happy. That quote, more is lost in indecision than wrong decision. That quote has led me to knocking out all these things that I really wanted to do. Okay. So I have an appreciation for success. All the failures make the wins and the successes that much sweeter. Okay. When I face challenges and setbacks, it just feels so much better to overcome them. A life without adversity would just be terribly boring. Again, I use these concepts. This is how I sold myself in entrepreneurship. This is how I kept myself going through entrepreneurship. This is how I now manage 3 companies with these same 5 concepts around that one simple quote that I'm sure you guys have all memorized by the end of this. And that was my intention as well. I wanted to just keep saying it until it's ingrained into your head so that you can hopefully get to a position of being able to look back and see how far you've come. As far as C4F and a little life update, basically what we did, we made another small pivot into C4F. I wanted to test a few things, right? Because again, the same concept. I wanted to take a little bit of risk this year in 2024. And I haven't been entirely transparent about what we've been doing on the inside. So I just want to give you guys a little inside scoop as to who we are, what we do, and what we've changed, right? If you don't know who we are, my name is Brent Kromer. I own C4F. We launched the sustainable growth model, okay, which basically helps online fitness coaches scale in a very profitable way. We manage everything from the finances on day one. The very first call we have, we do a complete financial audit. We break down every single expense coming in and out of the business. We make cuts if we need to. We add things as we need to. We fill support staff as we need to build a nice, functional, sustainable business that is profitable at the end of the month and also reduces your time in the business. This model is the exact model I run in C4F that's helped me create this life. It's the exact model Brooke, my girlfriend, runs in her business, where she's able to work 25 hours a week and run a wonderful team, and she is highly profitable. Same with our other 112 clients as we're up to like 113 clients. We've scaled past 30K. Okay. So this works and it works at a very high success rate. So what we did in C4F is I wanted to test 2 things this year. I wanted to test in January, I wanted to test working with brand new coaches. And in February, I wanted to test a low ticket item. These are 2 things I've thought about for the last 3 years. And I just wanted to test them this year because I was like, I keep putting it off and I'm not sticking to my own word. So we tested working with new coaches. It went okay. The coaches that put in the work have all made 10K, all of them. The ones who have not put in the work, which is a higher amount than I was anticipating, it really has bummed me out. they haven't made the money that they were set out for. And what I found was there was a much higher rate of people, no matter how many messages me, my assistant, my team, we all send out to these folks. They gave us a lot of money and then they never showed up. And it's sad because the ones who did show up did very well. Given the low participation rate, right, it just bummed me out. It's just not who we want to work with. And we were taking on people dealing with certain life circumstances at times, or dealing with certain mental blockages, that it made me realize who we really truly love working with. And it's who we've been working with since day one. It's those who are at right around 10K and above. 10K is not a hard set. If you're at 8K and you have good systems and you want to learn, of course we bring you in if it's a good fit. So now we're doubling down on working with people that we love working with. And as always, it's never not been the case. We have an extremely high success rate of people scaling past 30K per month. And I make a lot of friends. I was just in Arizona last week, met up with 4 clients, and it just feels good to be able to travel the country and meet up with wonderful people who I've helped scale their business and change their lives. So that was the first thing that we tried in January, working with new coaches to help them get like their initial system set up. It just wasn't for me. Maybe there's better coaches for that. I'm willing to admit that. I mean, it's just, I really like that high level conversation. The second thing, we did a low tickets. That was quite the opposite of, I wouldn't say the opposite. We had a very high failed payment rate. The lower ticket, it was $97 a week. We still offer this to certain individuals. It's $97 a week. And so many people, we did a free trial. We brought in 30 clients. We brought in 30 clients that month. With a 7-day free trial and then $97 a week. I think 15 of the 30 failed their payment after the first 7 days, which it sucks. I get it, right? I don't think they intentionally failed payment. It's just they're in a tight spot. So low to mid ticket wasn't my thing. New coaches wasn't really our thing. So we are back to one-to-one high level mentorships with unlimited one-to-ones. Okay. Daily communication in Slack, really, really high level support. So if that's you and you feel like you want to implement a sustainable growth model so that you can be more profitable and scale with less time in the business, that's who we are. That's what we're really, really, really good at. And because of the intensity, can only take on a limited amount of clients. I know everybody says that, but not everybody is offering unlimited one-to-ones, especially with me, business owner, and our team. So that is legitimately capped, and we are approaching that once again, which I'm eternally grateful for. So that is a little update on C4F. We tried a few things. Hey, guess what? We failed. I don't know if we failed. It's a harsh classification for this. We found ways we didn't want to do things. We found things that we didn't necessarily enjoy. And now I don't have to sit here and wonder what if we had tried that, what if we'd done this, and now I can just double down on what we love. Okay, what we absolutely love and what we're best at. So, little update there. Basically, again, if you found this helpful, I hope you did. I hope you didn't feel like I was rambling here at the end. I just like to, be transparent in the business and kind of show you guys who we are, what we do, and what we're up to. So, if you found this helpful, go ahead and like, share, subscribe, send to a friend. And if you want to work one-to-one, if you really want to scale your business and have me come in as basically a fractional CFO, go ahead and DM me on any platform. YouTube, Facebook, IG are the 3 biggest. Okay. I hope you guys have a wonderful day. Peace out.